to ask everyone to take a moment and picture a veteran in their mind. For many of us, this might not be the first image that pops into their head, and for me, it wasn't until I started working in a VA women's mental health clinic. The reality is there are approximately 2 million women veterans nationwide, and women veterans experience exceptionally high rates of trauma, with most women veterans having experienced a trauma in their lifetime, and a quarter of women veterans having experienced military sexual trauma. Not surprisingly, post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is highly prevalent among women veterans, and I learned this very quickly upon starting to work in the clinic. One of my first patients was a young mother of 3 with a history of combat exposure, military sexual trauma. When she first came into treatment, she was constantly thinking about her past traumatic events, felt disconnected from her family, was constantly looking over her shoulder, but by far her most debilitating symptom was her insomnia. She hadn't had a good night's sleep in years, and she was exhausted. And it was then that I realized what a significant impact trauma-related insomnia has on women veterans. So how do we get women veterans the care that they deserve? The good news is the VA offers highly effective therapies for PTSD. The bad news is that women veterans engage in these treatments at very low rates. To solve this problem, we must first understand it. Women veterans experience a number of barriers to getting connected with treatment. So first, the severity of symptoms. If a woman has a difficult time getting out of bed, of course she's going to have a difficult time getting to her appointments. Additionally, PTSD remains highly stigmatized, for asking for help around it is very challenging. The 8 to 4:30 VA schedule doesn't always work for our women veterans who are working, who are going to school. And we live in Los Angeles, where driving from the valley to the west side at certain parts of the day is a real challenge. This is where our idea to use cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia comes in. So cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, is an intervention where we attempt to break the cycle of negative emotions that contribute to poor sleep behaviors and maladaptive thoughts around sleep. We do this by trying to change thoughts and behaviors to break this cycle and improve sleep. Most people experience symptom relief in 4 to 6 sessions, and some can experience relief in as short as 1 to 2 sessions. So we believe CBTI can act as a bridge to PTSD treatment by providing rapid insomnia symptom relief. It's less stigmatized than PTSD because almost everyone can experience sleep difficulties. It's easily accessible because the VA has already developed a free online version. And if women veterans experience a positive impact from insomnia treatment, it's only going to increase their buy-in for additional treatments. We want to offer the women veterans we see more choices. Currently in our clinic, women are screened for both PTSD and insomnia, and positive screens are referred to PTSD treatment. We want to offer 2 additional choices, an in-person and an online insomnia treatment, with the hope that ultimately these women will get connected with PTSD. We believe that the women who participate in insomnia treatment will be connected with treatment more quickly, experience reductions in sleep symptoms, and ultimately attend more appointments over time. Our short-term goal is to do a pilot study using 60 women in our clinic and to increase mental health treatment engagement, with the long-term goal of improving the quality of life of our patients and replicating this intervention across multiple VA sites. We have a high need for treatment. We have expertise in the delivery of CBTI, which is one of the most powerful interventions in psychology. What we need is help with project coordination. We need a web consultant, as well as time needs to be reserved for our interventionists, and we need someone to help us analyze and share our findings, which results in a final ask of $105,000. The reach of this intervention is powerful, moving from our site here in Los Angeles to VA sites all across the nation. And when you help a woman veteran, she's rarely just taking care of herself. So the ripple effect of this intervention is powerful. Thank you so much for your time, and we welcome any questions.
It was 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
I'm going to actually ask some of the folks who haven't been here before if you guys have any feedback. Okay, you saw a very, very early.
No, this is amazing because I was here at the very beginning. So just to see how everything's evolved and how tight you have it. And so that's my first comment is it's very tight, and that's good. You have around 20 seconds to play around with. And I would actually say try to work on varying your cadence a little bit,
Okay.
right? And even if you were saying some dramatic facts the same way as you're saying some banal things, right?
Yeah. I think I've just said this so many times, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that happens. That's why,
Yeah.
like, when you practice it, I can tell you've been practicing it the same exact way.
Yep.
You just presented it now, right?
Mhm.
So when you practice it, make sure you practice those dramatic pauses and everything, just to really highlight some of the things that should be highlighted. That's one. Another thing about your presentation, there was a lot of movement.
Okay.
There was a lot of movement. I don't think some of those animations were necessary.
Okay.
It seems like you were you wanted to lead one fact to the next fact or one thing to the next thing with animation. You don't necessarily need to do that, and it could be distracting.
Okay.
If I'm trying to read something and I'm like, oh, there's new information, I gotta try to read that too.
Yeah.
But I want to pay attention to you.
Okay.
So just yeah, I can't really say exactly which ones need to be cut out, but just
Okay.
really seeing which ones are.
Okay. I can do that, definitely.
I thought, yeah, first, my name's Teresa, by the way, I thought it was a really lovely presentation, everything was very clearly presented, it was nice, like, short, succinct, it was clear what your ask was, and I think, yeah, setting the picture of, you know, like the target population that you're looking for is just very clear that there's especially a high need with this particular population, so it was more compelling to see that up front, so that it was really kind of fun.
And I agree. I think the first time having seen this presentation, I really liked how you brought the audience into and introduced them to the topic. Your patient story and the underlying symptoms and how they all kind of raised up to insomnia, or insomnia was an underlying issue, I thought was really, really effective. So I think your audience and your judges will resonate a lot with that. And your note, what was it? That there's reduced stigma around kind of sleep interventions. We've all experienced that at some point. I thought was a really, really great note as well. So I thought you made a case really nicely. Set yourself up for not too heavy content, so you can get into some of the content and the conversations afterward, which was super helpful. It wasn't overwhelming, but to Otha's point about some of the animations kind of being a little, when you were talking about your intervention and the web-based part, I was trying to understand it, and then part of it disappeared with your facts. So either kind of either taking out some of that information so that the audience can kind of read and visualize what your intervention looks like, or you only spent like 15 or 20 seconds on this slide, so maybe some of those few seconds that you have, you can just kind of go a little slower through that intervention piece, just so that the audience can kind of catch up and really understand what the intervention is that you're looking for.
Okay, happy to do that. Thank you.
It's pretty solid, like pretty good. Most of my stuff is actually, my notes are on performance. So at the beginning, we were kind of
Yeah, the
dancing a little bit. I do too. But you can walk. So, and I know for this room, it's
hard to
tight.
feel like you can walk right here.
Yeah, it is super hard, but just, you may want to practice it. Or if there are some of those salient points that you want to hit home, use that as a chance to sort of walk across the stage a little bit, or do an across. Because that'll also give us time to sort of absorb it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main thing. I like the map. I like the map a lot because I didn't see your last one live, so I was like, oh, this is really good. So it looks really nice. So I think just kind of maybe walking and talking a little bit, and that might give you some more pauses.
Yeah, I'm finding the hardest thing to prepare is like to not be in the environment in which you're like gonna do it. So like every time I do it, I'm like keyboard, like I like it's things like that. So I'm
Yeah.
glad we'll have the chance. We will be the morning of be able to.
You can,
do it.
if you get there early enough,
Okay.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna be there early, so if you need to practice on the stage with the loud and everything.
Because it's
we
only
should
5
do
minutes,
that.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you need to get up there and just practice saying it and walking across the stage, and I don't know if there's a meeting in there right now, you can try to peek in, just see the
Yeah.
space,
We did
but.
show them the one last time.
Okay,
so
you
we
got to
want
see it last
that.
time, the
Yeah.
space?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm not gonna say my name, which is like part of my spiel, like that's.
If you feel more comfortable doing
Well,
it, you
I mean, if it
can.
gives me more time, but is it, I found myself feeling a little awkward of just being like,
Good morning.
picture, yeah,
Yeah,
like, is
just-
that, how do
So
people
Laura,
get
go up
started?
and
Yeah.
introduce her, so she sees what the pause is between when you introduce her and sit
Yeah.
down and when you start.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because that way, you know, if Laura says, and here's,
So I'll say, good morning, everybody. We're so happy to have you here, blah, blah, blah. I'm very excited to welcome Dr. Gwen Carlson up to the stage to give her talk on, and I need to see the title of your presentation, I'm sorry.
This is working now.
Oh, cool. I'm very excited to welcome Dr. Gwen Carlson to come up and present. Here's your presentation.
Got it.
I mean, you can say,
Yay.
I'm Dr. Gwen Carlson, and it's
Yeah.
really simple.
Okay, so I can just be like, I'm Dr. Gwen Carlson, good morning, and then I can go.
Yeah, if
So
you're
I'm
more
gonna ask
comfort-
everyone to.
Yeah, if you're more comfortable saying it, say it.
It's
And
only
you-
gonna take 2 seconds.
Well, and I was gonna say, based on what she just said, like if I'm like envisioning this flow, and she says, and this is Dr. Gwen Carlson from blah, 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 and you could get up there and you could say, and you could just be super dramatic
Yeah.
getting up there and go, good morning, everyone. I'd like you to take a
Okay.
moment and
Yeah.
picture, and don't even say your title, they can read it,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And just say, I'd like you to take a moment, because you just capture them right there, you're just asking something from them, from that moment.
Okay.
Right, and just engage them immediately. I think that would be probably the best way to just bring them in right then, right?
Okay.
And just kind of dramatically go for it.
Okay. That
Okay, I
sounds
have
good.
a few things.
Okay.
I agree with everyone, it's very tight, it's a really lovely presentation, it's home, you've taken all of our feedback and incorporated, I can see the transitions, from some of the slides from previous ones. Again, I think your pacing is so quick that I know what you're gonna say, and I'm like, ooh, anxious with you to get, so I think take it a little bit, and if you need to not say everything on every slide because your pacing is slower, either cut out the slide or just leave it up there. Because what happened was at one point you were speaking so quickly I couldn't read the slide because as you were going through it, I missed it.
Okay.
Again, the movement, because you're clicking, but you're not really moving. You're sort of frozen, and people on this side of the room might see you, but people on that side of the room are never going to get to see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, not only your cadence, but how you drive the point home. A lot of sentences you ended up rather than sentences ended down. So when you end down, it's more of a statement. When you end up, it's more of a question.
Okay.
So think about, where your impact is, nowadays people go up a lot at the end of a sentence, but it's more, it's stronger if you're, clear that this is the point. And also on your ask slide, I couldn't see the 105,000
Yeah.
because it was right above your toolbar.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff where it's like different on everything that I do, so I'm not
Right.
sure, I can raise it up just to be safe. but-
You might want to put it at the top and then say what it's going for, rather than saying, here's what I'm gonna be here's what money is going for, and here's how much it's gonna be.
Okay, so start with the ask.
Because that's gonna be right in front of them then.
Okay.
So we're asking for $105,000.
That's in 4.
We already
Yeah.
have blah, 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 blah.
Right.
This money is asking for da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
Right. And also because it's not like a real round number, it's not like 100, 125, 150, it's 105. So it's like, if I couldn't quite see it, I would be saying, is that 105, 108, I mean, what was? Other than that, you're really polished. It's a good topic. I think you're gonna get a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, I really
Thank
appreciate it.
Cool. And are you, before we have you, are you good with kicking us off to go first?
It wouldn't have been my first choice.
Okay.
Well, just because in terms of, I guess, do they score everyone at the end, or they don't? have
After
to-
each presentation.
Okay, so that's the disadvantage, but I'll bring
It's,
my A game.
okay, I'm just, because if you're gonna have like crazy stage fright or something, I don't wanna force you to do
I
it.
don't have crazy stage fright, it was more just if there's any advantage to other spots or not.
It,
You have to run those statistics.
I do. I don't think there's any, I don't
It's-
think,
It's really
I think he'll be okay. Okay, just wanted to double check.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
Thank you.